So I'm here with Mr. Lewis Byrne. He's 3-0 as a professional, recently fought in Denmark. Yeah, he's had a fantastic start to his pro career. I've talked a lot about him. He's one of the people I mentioned a lot. Through amateur, took the hard fights, took the styles that didn't suit him, and is proven dividends now. So thank you very much for joining me. How are you? How are you feeling at 3-0 going undefeated at pro, having such a good start to the career?
Yeah, thanks for having me back, Dave. It's been a minute. It feels good. I'm happy with the first three professional performances of the pro career. I'm definitely looking forward to the next one, but I've been putting in hard graft, hard training. I've been getting the results, and yeah, I'm proud of those performances. I'm happy with those last couple of performances.
Yeah, no, it was really good, especially your last fight. You put up a post there and talk to us. It seemed like a very turbulent camp. A lot of stuff happened, a lot of
Yeah.
injuries, a lot of different things. Speak to us about kind of when the trouble started happening, what happened, what kind of injuries you picked up, and what kind of effect that had on you physically and mentally as well, because I
Yeah.
think people overlook the mental side in fighting.
Yeah. I think it's tough to go through a full camp without picking up any sort of niggles, any sort of injuries. Do you know what I mean? This camp was no different. To be honest, like this camp for me, this last one for the third fight, it was going perfect. I was really enjoying me training. The schedule changed up a little bit as well. Like I work full time as well as a community health worker in the inner city of Dublin. So like I'm working two full-time jobs at the same time, basically mixing up the MMA and the community health work. So recently, just halfway through the year there, I managed to come to an agreement with the job and change my hours that I went to slightly less hours in the job to commit a bit more time into the training and into the MMA and getting extra training sessions in. So that was helpful. It was a bit of a switch. It took a little bit to get used to it, and like when the switch finally came, it was like the first day of school. I was getting them like little near. I was like, oh, I really have to actually do this now. Like I'm not getting this time off now, so I actually have to train these extra training sessions now in the mornings. That was funny, but really enjoying it. Doing a bit of Thai boxing up in DCA there in up in Shandon in Cabra in Dublin. So really enjoying getting some rounds up there with the lads, moving about with Collie as well. Really, really good. So definitely something I'll be continuing now going into the next couple of camps. So yeah, other than that, like the camps had remained the same, getting good rounds in. Up in Rhino, great buddies up there. Saul coming down, Damien coming down, and all of us really working well together and getting really good rounds. Good looks off each other, everybody in camp at the same time. So like I couldn't have actually asked for a better camp and everything was going fucking great. And then as you do, you pick up injuries here and there throughout. I picked up like a little minor injury a couple of weeks into the camp. So like I tore the ligament in my left knee, the LCL, the outer ligament, because like I go for funky stuff up in the gym and stuff like that, especially in jiu-jitsu and like all these like low percentage moves, and I try to make them my own and try to tweak them. And sometimes you blow your knees out doing stuff like that when you're trying to do all these funky bits every now and again. So a little minor injury at the start of the camp, and didn't really worry too much about it. I was getting looked at with the physio, doing a little bit of rehab and stuff like that. And it was grand. It was fine. So yeah, the 6 weeks went by, out of the 8 week camp, the 2 month camp, and 2 weeks out. Friday morning, I get the text from MMA Gala that my opponent had pulled out. So I was like, right, no bother. I've experienced this before. This has happened to me literally every single fight camp I've had so far. First fight fell apart because the guy pulled out the week of. The second fight pulled out the week of the Waterload. I couldn't believe it. The exact same day, I was like the Monday before the fight. Luckily, we got the replacement, and I went up a weight class to lightweight to make the debut. Second fight camp, like not no different, constant pullouts every now and again. So I was used to that. So the 2 weeks was like enough time for me. So on the Friday morning, I was like, right, that's unfortunate. I've been training for this guy, but look, we the show must go on, So just had to sort of wait and see and find out, and just hope on that Friday morning that we'd have an opponent by the end of the weekend. That night was the last session. The last like sort of tough session of the training camp, got through it absolutely grand, not a bother. Felt really good, even though I was on the low calories. Putting the last like hard bit of graft in for the fight camp. I think we done our last round of rolling after sparring, and then our head coach Andy said, "Right, lads, we're just gonna do one extra round." And they're the famous last words, like, "We're just gonna do that one extra round." If you're really like at the end of your fight camp, this is just a bit of advice to other fighters. And you've done your hard work for 6 or 7 or 8 weeks, and you've literally completed your last session, and your coach says, one last round, don't do that last round, because that's when the bullshit happens. I literally say it all the time with plenty of other lads who are training for fights. It's always that last round. But anyway, yeah, I was rolling about, going for those low percentage jiu-jitsu submissions and moves, and I done the exact same injury to the other knee, but this one was like, oh my God, this one was like fucking 1,000 times worse. The lads who are rolling beside us heard the pop out my knee. I thought I had torn the meniscus. I thought the knee was gone. I was like, I'm like, within the first 2 minutes of me injuring the knee, I was like, I am done. There's no way I'm fighting in 2 weeks' time. This is also at the same moment where I actually don't have an opponent either. I was actually running around, like, it happened so quick. I heard the pop. I was rolling on the ground. I was like an injured animal. I was like a deer that's they're being shot by a gun. I was like limping around the mat, just trying to like put a bit of weight on it. I knew it was the same injury that I had done to the other knee, but obviously it was so much worse. And the pain sort of went after about 5 minutes, but I knew like, oh, this is gonna be stiff in the morning. Like, so I woke up the next morning. I was correct. The knee was like someone poured concrete in my leg. I could barely bend my leg. But yeah, I had to do the same stuff that I done for the last injury. It wasn't perfect, but got it looked at, done what I could, physio wise, stretching wise. Um, And then by the end of the weekend, I think we went through like two options for different opponents. I'd accepted both of them, and then by the end of the weekend, we had settled on your man Hussein. Good jiu-jitsu black belt. A couple of fights. It was the step up in competition I wanted as well. Like obviously my first two opponents, my debut, I was also fighting a debut, and then my second opponent was also a debut. So I wanted that step up for myself, and the original guy was that step up for me as well. I think his record was 2-1 or 3-1, and then this guy was 3-2. So I was happy with that step up. It was just the injury was like on the mind. So I think we had the opponent confirmed on the Sunday night, and then on the Monday morning in work, and I'm like, me legs itchy here, like me legs a bit sore, you know that? Walking around for the whole day, and I'm about to go to training, and like I'm looking at my leg, and I'm like, what's the story with that? That's actually a bit itchy, like. And lo and behold, it was a fucking like staph infection. So this is like 8 days out or 9 days out from the fight. And I'm just like, right, I need to get antibiotics into me like quick, fast, like really, really quick. So sent a little text around to a couple of the lads, because like staph, ringworm, all that shit is just so common on the mats, and like someone's always knocking about with like antibiotics or whatever. Ended up getting the full course of antibiotics. Um, the idea is mad bleeding Spanish brand of antibiotics, but look, I wasn't gonna. Beggars can't be choosers. I just needed to get antibiotics into me as quick as possible to get rid of this staph before the fight. So I took them anyway for 24 hours, and I thought it was all right. I thought it was like the leg was still throbbing a bit, and still quite sore. And I've had staph in the past. It's one of those unavoidable things. You just pick it up, especially when you're traveling around, like to other gyms in other countries, or just whatever, like. So by like the Tuesday evening, I had stopped like training on the mats with the lads, and I said, you know what, just gonna relax for the next couple of days, let these antibiotics work. I've done all my hard work. My other knee was fucking stiff as a board, and so I was just gonna relax and let the antibiotics work. So by the Tuesday evening, I sat down after having a bit of food, and my girlfriend looked at my leg, and she was like, "Lewis, your leg is like double the size of your other leg." And I was like, oh yeah, I feel stiff all day, but like I just like MMA fighters, like I'd give them like a lot of them have the same mentality as like pit bulls. Like they just like if they're in pain, if they're injured, they're just gonna keep trotting on, like going about their day as if they're grand. Their arm could be hanging off and they're like, oh no, it's only bleeding, it's only pulled muscle. But yeah, like the leg was throbbing all day, but like that. I was like, I wasn't ignoring it, but I was like, that's it's probably just the staff or whatever. But yeah, like I started getting worried then because like the leg was like it was looking bad. Like the whole calf was like swollen up the knee, around where the knee was. I had staff on the knee, and it was fucking like a balloon as well. It was really, really stiff and swollen. So I'm like at this point I'm like, right, I'm like 8 or 9 days out from a fight now. Like I can't sort of sit around and wait to see me GP tomorrow. That night, straight up to A&E, was up there. Me leg was like turning different colours. It was turning red. I was like, I fucking sepsis in my leg here, or cellulitis, or like something isn't right here. I knew something wasn't right because I've had this same thing in the past, you know. Got looked at anyway after fucking hours of sitting in A&E. I actually like it was tough, man. Mentally, it was tough. Like sitting in the A&E, like 8 days out from your fight, 9 days out from your fight, with the other leg like pretty like significantly injured, and your good leg is like double the size. Do you know? That was tough mentally. I really like I don't know. I just like in that moment sitting in A&E, I was just like this. I'm probably gonna have to fucking pull out here. I had like a lot of support coming over with me to the fight. And it's just like it's a bastard because like you don't want to let your friends, your family, the people coming over down. Even though like like they're not gonna say you're letting them down. Like some things are uncontrollable. But it's just that like the support is so well received and appreciated no matter if it's up in Belfast, if it's in Dublin or if it's on the other side of the world. Do you know, like it's every last person who buys a ticket, who buys a pay-per-view, who sends you a message, you know, like all that is appreciated. So like you do think in the back of your head, I'm letting these people down. Like I'll get to this fight next week, and even if they have to wheel me there, but at the same time, like, and it really came into my mind there over those last 2 weeks of the fight. Like, you do have to put your health first as well. Like, there's no point like in like risking like your life and your health for I don't want to let me friends and family down. Like, it's your life at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? And like no MMA fight win is gonna be worth more than your life, do you know, or just your health and your ability to continue living like a normal life as a healthy adult, you know. So it's just something that's like you do have to weigh up the pros and the cons, you know. Anyway, bringing you back to the story, A&E, they had to measure me leg to check if it was sepsis or cellulitis. They got the diameter of the leg. I think they had said it was swollen by like it was either like an inch or a centimeter and a half. But if it was an extra centimeter and a half, then it could have been maybe sepsis. I was like, all right, nice one. At least it's not that. They stuck me on another lot of antibiotics, and I just had to trust. I had to trust it that this was going to work. I've had staff in the past, like I mentioned. I've been on these antibiotics for it before. I was on like a dose of like 60 antibiotics across 7 days. I was on like 8 or 10 antibiotics a day. Um, Obviously not on the mats. Just like all I could do was really run when the swelling had come down. One more run before I finished up my fight camp, and like 1 or 2 strength and conditioning sessions. So I think I added it up, and the last like I'd say 2.5 weeks before my fight, I probably literally done like 3 sessions, like 3 1 hour sessions. And that was like that Friday where I hurt the knee. The Monday I hit the bag when I found out I had staph, and then like literally the last Friday before I was fighting the following weekend. That was like my final session. I just sort of moving about while on antibiotics and just doing a bit of pad work and stuff like that. So, like it's a tough time, I think, to take that much of a break because like it's your final like couple of sessions, and you're like, no, I need to fucking put the last couple of sessions in here and whatever, and burn your last couple of calories, and you'd be worried about your weight still. No, I can't do that now. I have to just sit on my hole and hope these antibiotics work. And it's like it's a mental battle. It's a mental battle more than anything because like you've done all your hard work. There's actually nothing else you're gonna learn in the last 2 weeks. Your fitness might improve 2%, but realistically, that's not gonna come into play in the fight. So I just have to keep telling me that thing in my head. I was having those conversations in my head. Like you've done enough. You've done all you can do. Like you have to just relax now. You're probably gonna taper off anyway. So just let the antibiotics work, and hopefully you're 80% ready, your body wise, for the fight when it comes around. So yeah, I think I'd stop the antibiotics anyway on. I think Wednesday was the last day I took antibiotics, and then weighed in. I left for Denmark on Thursday, weighed in Friday, for Saturday, and yeah, the rest is history, as they say.
That's like that's a lot to take in, even
Yeah.
listening to kind of what happened and me going through my head about how you could be feeling. There's so many different emotions. You had to
Mm.
pull out. You got a new opponent. Now you're thinking, am I gonna have to pull out?
Yeah.
Like you said, is your family and friends are always going to say you're not letting them down. It'd be the same
Yeah.
if Joe, if it was my friend or someone like if
Yeah.
just say I was coming over, I'd be like, Lewis, it is what it is. But I
Yeah.
know in your position, that's always going to be in your head. Joe, the sort of way you can't
Yeah.
get rid of that. But like mentally, like how did you like how like that's very hard to manage, especially you're going into like taking antibiotics as well, which kind of drains you energy wise, and then obviously you
Yeah.
have did you have a big weight cut then as well on top of that, like, or was it?
Do you know what? Like with everything that had happened over those last 2 weeks, whether it be opponent change, like illness, injuries, I honestly like. Uh, I'm not gonna use all of that negative energy and make myself feel worse. Like I done my best just to use everything that was happening as an extra little push towards the fight, and just said to myself like, "You're a fighter, Lewis. You're a fighter. Like you're gonna fight this fella, and you're gonna win either way. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. It doesn't matter how bad one of your legs is. Like you like this is what you say you are. So go out there and prove it. It doesn't matter like what the circumstances may be. Like if you're gonna talk the talk, you have to walk the walk eventually. Do you know what I mean? And like I don't know, like it could be anything. You might like hurt your finger, might be like fractured or something before a fight. Like that's not gonna stop you from winning, like from losing a fight or winning a fight. Like it's down to you, like how you use that energy. Do you know what I mean? And I just in this case, I used it to push me and to get that performance out of me that I wanted, you know. There's obviously like a lot of other things that do come into play to get the win. The mental thing's a huge part of it. Like over the last like couple of fight camps, I've been working on that with my sports psychologist Molly. Absolutely brilliant. But like in regard to this fight, like you know, like mental's a huge bit. The decision making on the night is a huge bit, and then like all those other little things do come into it as well. Like, you know, social things that you have going on with, I don't know, friends, family, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, like, you know, work shit, you know, like training camp, how that's gone. But like 2 weeks out from the fight, you should be ready to go on that day. Like mentally and physically, you've done everything you can do. If I was fighting on the Monday, the Tuesday, the Wednesday, the Thursday, the Friday, out of the blue, like I'm ready for that, regardless. You don't just train to, oh, I can only fight on the Friday. Like you're ready to go realistically at the end of the camp. So no matter what's happening in the last 2 or 3 or even 4 weeks of your fight camp, like you should be ready by then. Do you know what I mean? So that's just that sort of mentality I have. It might not work for everybody, but that's what worked for me, and that's what I'm gonna continue to go on. Do you know? But no, sorry, Dave. Getting back to your question with the weight cut. Do you know what I've? We were chatting about it a little bit before we started, but like I've fought like so many times at featherweight through the amateurs. I don't walk around 2 or 3 kilos over featherweight. I would say I'm quite a big featherweight for the weight class. So it does. I can't just eyeball shit, and I can't just leave it a chance. So like, health, food, nutrition is a huge thing in my life. You know, I mentioned earlier on that like I do work for a community project in the inner city in Dublin. And part of my job is I deliver a 6 week health and nutrition cooking program to like schools in the area, adults in the area, like do it all over the place. So like I do be doing my own research. I have the trial and error of all of the weight cuts that went horribly, and there's been plenty. And just like picking up tips from the other lads and stuff like that, and just like sort of chopping and changing things. And I have it down to a T now, to where like I like I think I had to do like barely anything, to be honest. Like when I cut, I think I cut like maybe, if even, 2 kgs before, like on the morning of the weigh-ins, and fresh, like absolutely fresh.
Yeah, that's not much. I watched someone cut 7 kgs overnight, and that wasn't a fun time for me watching him do it.
Ah,
So
I've done, come here. I've done like 5 kgs in the space of a couple of like hours as well. Do you know what I mean? And then I've had to fight within the hour after weighing in, and that like was bad news. Do you know? So 2 kgs is like a bleed afternoon tea. Like give me that every day, all day. 2 kgs in the bath, I'll happily do it.
no, I like that. One thing I want to say is the job you have, fair play to you. That's a very worthwhile, fulfilling job as well, and fair play to you for doing that because you live in Ballybock, yeah, around that
Yeah,
area.
yeah,
Yeah, 'cause-
Ballybock, yeah, inner
yeah.
city Dublin, yeah.
Yeah, so you had a lot of things to contend with there, and I like your resilience and how you kind of like you use these things to kind of motivate you rather than get you down, and a lot of people would get down. It just shows the mentality change that we talked briefly just before we started about your mentality change that going into pro. Do you want to expand a bit more on that so people can kind of get an idea? Because I think the mental side is something that's kind of forgotten about or left aside or people
Yeah.
don't really know. So do you want to talk to us about your experience and your change in mentality?
Yeah, 100%, Dave. Yeah, so obviously the mentality I have and the mindset going into a fight is it's 80%. Like it's almost all of the fight, you know. And then the rest, the other 20%, whatever it is your decision making on the night. So like it's you need to want to be there. You know, like there's no point in just like doing all the training and thinking it's cool to have a fight, and then you're just not performing. Like you need to want to be there in the cage as well. And like I said to a couple of lads as well over the last couple of weekends of corner other fights, like this, like the fight itself is like 1% of like your whole MMA career. If you have like a 20-year MMA career, you'll spend thousands and thousands and thousands of hours on the mats, traveling all over the world for fights, dieting, doing all this sort of shit, and your fight is like 1% of it. And that's the part that makes or breaks people. Do you know? That's when they can just fold, and they could be literally the best, like the best lads you ever see in the training room on the mats, and as soon as it comes to fight night, they fold for whatever reason. Do you know? So you really just you have to enjoy that 1%, because that's the best bit. Like that is the best bit at the end of the day. No point dreading it or like getting so anxious about it. Like, you know, you really do just have to enjoy that. So that's definitely something that I've brought into my own mentality when it comes to those the big fight night, like the thing that everything's leading to. You know, I would have mentioned before to you, I've been working with a sports psychologist now for the last couple of for all my professional fight camps actually, and with Molly, absolutely brilliant. Like, really has just added different levels and layers to just thinking about things a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? Tackling like mental challenges that I may have in different areas, and just really helpful overall. But like one thing, there was a switch for me, and it was the last amateur loss that I took, and like that was, I think that was detrimental to the fire that I've become now, because I remember it was a submission loss. I'd never been submitted before, and it fucking, it hurt, like it really really hurt, and I had a complete just a crisis moment, and I was ready there and then to quit. Like I was done with MMA. Like I loved MMA, unbelievably passionate about MMA. This is what I want to sort of base my life at the moment around at that point. And it just like it broke me down. Do you know what I mean? Like it really just broke me down, as it does. Like MMA, no matter how much you love MMA, like MMA is never gonna love you back. Do you know? So yeah, brought me that final loss of my amateur career brought me to like a bad place, like for about 24 hours. And after those 24 hours, I was like, mate, like this is like, I just had that internal conversation with myself, you know, like this is like what you've put so much time into for so many years, like, and you're ready to quit now, like the MMA is gonna show you the door. Like MMA is actually gonna show you the door, as much as possible because MMA wants to win at the end of the day. Like it doesn't want you to win. You have to make that decision, and every time it shows you the door, you just have to tell the fucking fuck off, like so this fight camp was no different. Like we've gone through all those challenges and stuff like that. Um, where MMA were showing me the door and saying, "Ah, let's just quit now," So I didn't quit there and then. All those fights ago, and that's something that I think fueled the performances that then came after. But when it did come to the professional switch and fighting as a pro fighter, like there was a little bit of a mental change in terms of like this was no longer competing in a sport and let's see who has the better skills. Like this for me now as a professional fighter is like I'm going out there and like one of us is coming out of the cage like and it's not gonna be you. Like I'm gonna be the person leaving this cage fresh as a daisy. Like I'm getting out of here. Like there's two men going in, there's one man coming out. So yeah, I don't like I've never any sort of like malice or like people always say, oh, do you get real angry before your fights and like you really want to hurt this fella? I don't get angry like, but I do want to hurt this fella like because this fella is out there putting himself in here and going through a 2 month training camp, however long, to hurt me. So like me bollocks, am I gonna let this fella hurt me? So I'm gonna hurt you before you get to hurt me. So that's like for me the professional switch is that for me. It's no longer, competing. I never like I think I didn't really have that amateur like I want to go out and hurt this fellow like 18-year-old kid who's just also has a passion for MMA and it's his hobby. It was more of just like, right, I'm training, you're training, let's see whose skills are better. Whereas now it's like, right, this man who is across the cage from me is training to make this thing his career of haunting me. So, like, as I said, my bollocks is that gonna happen? Like, I'm gonna get there first. That's the switch on the night, and of course, like enjoying all the moments. Like this just goes back to working with Molly, and doing that bit of sports psychology. Like, it's like you have to enjoy like not just the fight. Like, you have to enjoy the whole thing. Like, cause like in 15 years, unless I'm doing bleeding slap boxing or bare knuckle boxing somewhere when the MMA career is over. Like these are like the best years of your life when it comes to like your MMA career, and if you're serious about it, like the traveling around, getting to fight in places like Denmark and all the places I fight in, like as an amateur as well, but like enjoy like all aspects of it, like because like you're not gonna. It's not a game where you're gonna be late into your 60s doing bleeding exhibition MMA fights like Mike Tyson and the boys, like it's a very like small window of time where you get to be at your prime in this sport and achieving all of the goals that you want to achieve. So make it worthwhile, enjoy it, even like when it's fight night or fight day or whatever, like just take it like enjoying the little things, enjoying your walkout. Like there's obviously gonna be that nervous energy and that anxious energy. It's good though, like it's excitement. You shouldn't use that to bring down your performance. You should use that to bring up your performance and get you in the right headspace. So look, it's just about in like as cliche as it is to say, like it's about enjoying like the little things and enjoying the whole process of it. Because at the end of the day, like you're going in there to hurt somebody, or they're going in to hurt you, and I don't know. You have to sort of take what you can from it, I guess, because it's a brutal fucking sport at the end of the day. The training is like so full on. Like all the amateur lads are basically training like pro lads, and then the pro lads are doing twice that. Then you have to cut all the weight. You have to go through months of a hard training camp and diet and all that stuff for like 15 minutes of dancing about. So fucking enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I liked a couple of things you said. You said about the nervous energy. I think when
Yeah,
people say to me sometimes that they're really cool and calm, like if I'm going into a job interview or something that's important to me, you're going to be nervous. And I think if that
yeah,
nervousness
yeah,
isn't there, not that you don't care about it, but there's something a bit off, I think, because
yeah,
if there's something that's like for you, your next fight is your most important fight all the time.
yeah,
And if you're
100%.
not nervous, then I think I don't know. Then you might have to look at a mental side as well. But what I really liked what you're talking about is enjoying the moment because a lot of fighters said they obviously you have to plan on where you want to get to, and they're focusing too
Mm,
much on that, then stopping the smelling the roses. Like I don't know whether you will fight Denmark again or not, but you won't. If you don't, you won't have that experience again. So enjoy it while you're there.
exactly.
Enjoy these countries, right? Stop, smell the roses, enjoy it. People are too quick to want to get to the end goal. That it's the
Mm,
journey that makes the goal. Like whether you get to that goal or not, there's going to be stuff along that journey that you might never have thought of even happened. So in a sort of way,
yeah,
it was going to happen, and I think people need to kind of like that, embrace the moment and take it.
1,000,000%. Yeah, you know, like there's gonna be highs, there's gonna be lows, you know, but you best believe you're gonna enjoy the highs while they're there, you know. Yeah, yeah. As cliche as it sounds, you know, like to enjoy the little things and this and that, but like that, yeah, you have to at the end of the day, do you know what I mean? For all the torture you go through as a fighter, mentally and physically, do you know, like even now, like all those things I had to go through, for the end of the last camp. Like I'm so happy I can at least look back at them and laugh. And I got the win at the end of the day. I'd fucking you probably wouldn't be in the interview with me right now if I lost. Do you know what I mean? Like nobody gives a bollocks really about any of that stuff if you lose. So like you're only as good as your last performance anyway. Do you know? So you enjoy all the things in between while you can, because it's gonna be a day where like you're in your late 30s and you feel like you're in your late 60s because you've been training MMA for the last 20 years and you can't fight her anymore, do you know? So, yeah, that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, it's like that. It's a what have you done for me lately sport?
Yeah.
And it is. But to be fair, Lewis, because you were one of the first people that ever gave me an interview, whenever you lost in the first few fights after that interview, I did text you.
Yeah, million
Yeah,
percent, Dave. Million
yeah,
percent. You're
you
one of the
said
OGs.
you
They're,
said
they're, they're during the lows and the highs.
yeah, it was the same. Jordan Bradshaw said same. It was actually Taylor Quinn when I texted him because there was four. You, Troy Gibson, Taylor, Maga.
Yeah,
They were the first four people to ever agree to interview. So when Taylor lost, because I'd have that kind of relationship with Yi because he allowed me to do that when he didn't know who I was. Um, I felt like I kind not that I owed it to him, but I want to see how he was and how you were. And it was Taylor said, other than my girlfriend and my family, no one has texted me, and I was like, man, that is brutal. And he said, like, you have hundreds of messages. So it is what, and it's like that. It is lonely because I don't know whether people don't want to text you, just because they don't know how you'd react.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's like that. It just shows you need to keep your number ones because I see your mother's one of your biggest supporters,
yeah,
uh, as well. And then you've got your girlfriend, your close family. They're the essential ones. Not that these other ones don't matter, but they're the ones that are going to be there for you when the times are tough, and
yeah,
they have been, and they will be going forward. But I love the kind of change in mentality and the way you look at things because I watched your amateur career and I could see there was tough times for you, and you could see it. You looked kind of labored at some stage, and
mm,
I don't want to say it in a disrespectful way, but it looked like kind of you fought a lot when I started. You fought a
yeah,
lot, and I
yeah,
think you burnt yourself out and you tried to do too much. And but these are things you learned. Like I said, look at how it's going now, and it's been like a perfect start to your career in
yeah,
terms of results. Uh, Injuries, pullouts, this that haven't been perfect, but like you said, that's part of the sport.
yeah,
Going forward, obviously you were very banged up going into the fight. We were
yeah.
talking before. We probably wouldn't be expecting to see you to maybe the new year. I'd say you need to rest and recover your body.
Yeah, no, like you said, Dave, we were chatting a bit beforehand, and I'd mentioned a couple of injuries and stuff, and obviously we've gone through the injuries and stuff during the interview now, today, but yeah, I didn't like during the fight itself, I didn't really take too much damage, but like I was a little bit like the knees and stuff, and were a little bit compromised beforehand. Like and that was one of the main. I don't know if you've seen the fight, but that was one of the main reasons I kept on the feet. The guy I was fighting like was a jiu-jitsu black belt, and both my knees were bogey, like to say the least. So you best believe I'm not staying on the ground like when I can barely kneel on the ground, you know. But yeah, no. Afterwards, wasn't really too banged up. The knee though, like, is sort of still healing, and it's making it difficult for me now to actually even get back onto the mats at the moment. So a little bit frustrating. I'm doing whatever I can. I'm up there. I'm coaching. I'm going through techniques with the other lads. I'm enjoying sort of the teammate role at the moment. Was up with young Aaron Henry there the other week when he got the final win of his amateur career. I'll be with the lads now this weekend for Cage Warrior. So look, I'll be playing that team, the team member role for the next couple of weeks anyway until I can get fully back onto the mats. I don't know if I'm gonna be 100% before the end of the year, but if I was 75% ready for this last fight in Denmark, then that was good enough. But I would like to be 100% before my next fight. So, yeah, look, if I don't get back in there by the end of the year, it'll be pretty early into 2026. I'd love a nice active 2026. Keep that unbeaten streak as well. Hopefully maybe do some more international fights as well in the new year. And yeah, we'll see what happens, but yeah, more than likely it'll be early 2026 now for me for the next one.
Yeah, I think so. After what you've been through, I think you deserved a bit of a break. I think you deserve to go into a fight. Like you're never going to go in 100%, but if you
Yeah,
keep going in at 75%, you're compromising your health,
yeah,
which is your health, your injuries, your body is going to affect then. Like you said, this is a career for you now. It's not
yeah,
just a competition. Um, we've got like that. You fought in Denmark. There's the options there. There's Cage Warriors that obviously your gym's very heavily featured on as well, which is this weekend. Is Cage
yeah.
Warriors something you'd like to get on and
Come here, yeah. Like I'd love the opportunity. I'd love to get onto one of the Dublin shows as well. But like all I'm gonna say is I'm gonna just keep getting the results, making the noise all across Europe and wherever else, and like whatever does end up in my lap, that's that. Like we'll go that direction. I'm not going to sort of say there's only one route for me and I have to go that way. But whatever opportunities may like come to pass, we'll take them, But yeah, definitely would love to fight on one of the next Dublin shows. I'm jealous of the lads, to be honest, even though I fought 2 weeks ago that are fighting this weekend. I think the injury is a bit of a blessing in disguise as well. Like, cause if I wasn't injured, I'd be looking to fight like within the next couple of weeks myself. But yeah, look, we'll see what happens. I'd love to get back onto the MMA Gala show back in Denmark maybe at some point as well next year. And yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm enjoying being a free agent at the moment. But we'll see what happens.
yeah, there's so many options now, especially
Yeah,
across Europe. There's so many big promotions now that are kind of coming. You've got PFL, you've got Octagon, and you've got like that the ones in Denmark. There's one in Austria. I can't remember. I think what it's FCR or F something like that. But
yeah,
there's some WoW
yeah,
Cage
yeah, yeah.
Warriors, which is a fantastic promotion. There's so many options now for you as a pro. How does that feel as a pro compared to if you go back 10 years ago? There was very few. You've like the ball's kind of literally in your court. Where do like who wants me and where do I choose to go?
Exactly. Like it's just because there is so many opportunities as well, which is brilliant. Like the ball sort of is in the fighter's court, but only if the performances are there as well. Because, like I said, you best believe, like if the last fight was an L because of all these other issues that were going on, nobody be giving a bollocks at the moment. Nobody be looking to get you on, But that's not the case. We're 3-0, we're undefeated. You would hope that that's attractive to all these promotions in Europe, across Europe. So look, yeah, for the most part, as long as the performances are there for fighters, like the world sort of is your oyster, when you can back it up. So yeah, I'll be honestly hoping to go to as many places as I can until I get the right offer, the right contract on the right promotion. So we'll just see who that ends up being at the end of the day.
Yeah, like that. We'll see what the future holds. And there's one or
Exactly.
two fighters you talked about there from your gym that I want to touch on, and maybe we could just
Yeah,
touch on the Cage Warriors card if that's something you're
yeah,
interested
let's
in.
go.
Aaron Henry, I think his record doesn't show how good he was, but his performance the other day showed how good he was because Peter O'Reilly is a very, very good fighter. And
Yeah, yeah,
how was that watching him? Because I've been there and you've been there for like when he fought Xavier,
yeah.
which for me was one of my favorite fights still to this day. Power bombs, reversal. This, what's it like watching someone like Aaron, who I feel his record should be better to some fights I think he might have won, but the decisions don't go
Yeah.
that way. But him to get that win and mean so much to him, he stepped in a short notice. So what's it like seeing your teammate get what he deserves?
Like it's a great feeling, do you know what I mean? Like you get more nervous, I think, when you're on the outside of the cage than when you're on the inside of the cage, to be honest. And like the nerves are obviously always there for all my teammates. And like when one of my teammates win, like we all win. Do you know, like it's a lone sport, but it is a team sport at the end of the day. And the other thing as well is like us boys, and it's the same for all the clubs across Ireland, across the world. Like you spend so much time with these lads, like day in, day out, like that. You actually forget how good your own level is because you're around each other, and like you might know each other's games and so on and so forth. Like, do you know what I mean? And just because of that familiarity, like you do forget how good and how high the level is of all of your teammates. You know, because like you're literally, you know, each other's like ins and outs, and like their moves five moves ahead and they know your move. So it's not until you see them on the stage and perform, you're like, oh fuck, like other people can see this as well. Like, and I think Aaron the other night there, yeah, he really showed his level. Absolutely top class. Like, really has came on leaps and bounds over the last couple of years up in the club. Um, just yeah, he's putting the work basically. You know, he's like myself, like a lot of the other lads out of the club. He never took an easy fight. He took whatever fight was given to him. He never like asked for a specific fight. He was just like, Aaron, you're fighting this fella in 3 weeks' time. Yeah, no bother. You know, and that's how we all are, and that's how Andy has us as a coach. Like Andy knows, like we can beat any single person. If Andy gets a fight offer and he's already sent it to us, Andy knows we can beat that person. Do you know what I mean? But it's down to us as fighters to like realize that in ourselves as well. Do you know what I mean? And it's not until you see like your fellow teammates performing on the big stages like Cage Warriors now this weekend, and like, oh shit, that's my training partner is just that they're sending that fella to the shadow realm, and I train with that fella every single day. Like, so I must be half good, like if that's what he's doing to somebody else from another club over in England or something like that. You know what I mean? So that really does hammer it into you. Do you know, when you do see our friends performing like Aaron, like such, he really showed his level there the other weekend. Yeah, so I'll be very excited to see him make the transition himself over to the professional level. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, so would I. He's someone that I have great time for, and like I said,
yeah,
he whether he would or not, he was an exciting fight. He went up against Jason Streenen on like a couple of days' notice, and gave
yeah,
Jason was like, man, I didn't like he thought because of the weight difference, so
yeah.
that like okay, I might be able to. He goes, but man, when I took him down, he's throwing up triangles, arm bars. He goes, I'm trying to get out of there and go right. We need to get back to the feet.
Yeah,
So.
yeah,
There's so many on Cage as well. Unfortunately, obviously
yeah,
Solomon pulled out. Oh no,
yeah,
Solomon pulled out. Solomon's opponent pulled out. I
yeah,
think they should reschedule that for a title now. Obviously,
yeah,
in my opinion, you've so many on it. One of the ones to sue that really interesting when you've got Damien's fighting Key. Obviously, Damien's from
mm,
Rhino. He's from Oma, and then you've got Jamie versus Matthew Friel. A lot of people are divided on this. I think sometimes you're going to have to fight Irish people, but it has
yeah.
to be for me like a stage like Cage Warriors. Because I think, like we said, there's so much talent in the country. You have to kind of rise to the top. What's your thoughts on
Yeah.
Irish people fighting at such an early stage in the career, or do you think it should come later on at a bigger stage?
Like, do you know what? Like, I don't think it matters too much whether it comes early or late. Because MMA, like, is still one of those sports where, like, no one cares if you have one or two losses anyway, if you're an exciting fighter and you still back up with performances. Like, I know for a fact, like, regardless of, like, the results of this weekend, between, like, the really big domestic, domestic fights, like, all those lads, like, have a huge future ahead of them regardless, do you know what I mean? And in another 5 fights time, all these big domestic fights will be just like a great performance from two lads giving it their all. Do you know? That's all there is. So like I don't think there's really like an issue or a problem with doing them too early. You might want to see them build up a little bit more, and then maybe, like those bigger domestic fights might be then for contendership for a title. Or I'd love to even see, like, I don't know who you could put between, but like an all Irish like title fight or something like that. That's exciting. Shit like that is exciting. Because the main fact of the matter is as well, like the big domestic fights when they are like quite early, it's not really for contendership for the belt immediately after. They'll probably have like another two or three fights after, you know. So like they're exciting for the lads who are switched on MMA and they know like the MMA scene and they know who's fighting who and like, oh, that's a really good fight. But maybe for more like of the general audience, they're like, oh, that seems like a good fight, but they don't really know the background too much of either fighters, you know. But I would really like to see maybe like a big domestic Irish title fight, maybe in the next year or two, if the lads, you know, if a lot of the Irish lads remain in Cage Warriors, and also if they're backing up with performances as well. So yeah, we'll see this weekend, but like yeah, I rate the Irish domestic fights as well.
Yeah, I think Damien versus Keith is a banger. I think Jamie
Ah,
versus
it
Matthew,
is.
that's another banger. I think
Yeah.
that they're two really, really good fights. And it's like obviously when I'm watching Cage Warriors, I could be watching Jer Harris and going, go on, Jer. Whereas now I'm sitting there going, I don't want one to beat the other. But
Yeah.
it's like I said, Damien said it and Keith said it. If this was a London show, there'd be no point in making it. You know,
Yeah.
because it's an Irish show, like you just kind of alluded to, the people in the scene kind of know it's going to be a fantastic card. I can't wait. I'm actually doing commentary on a show up north though, so I
Yes.
won't be at it.
Ah,
But
no way.
I will be when I get home. I'll try and keep away from the results. I'll get home and I'll
Yeah.
watch it. I'm going to let you go. I've really enjoyed this conversation, as I always do with you. I love how you kind of expand on things and talk about the different things, the way it made you felt, the different mentalities. Because I think a lot of people don't want to talk too deep into it, and you do, and that might trigger something in someone. They go, right, well, maybe I need a sports psychologist. Maybe I need to approach it this way.
Yeah.
And it's always a fantastic conversation. Is there anything you want to say before you go, or anything even you want to talk about before you go?
No, Dave. Look, thanks for having me on. Like I said, it's been a minute. I think it's been maybe a year or two since I've been on last, maybe. But yeah, no, always grateful for the opportunity to have a chat with you and chat about all things MMA. And hopefully, I'll be back again soon. And hopefully, you'll see me active again in another fight in the new year.
Yeah, no, 100%. Once the next fight is booked, we'll get you booked in for an interview. I'll try
Yeah.
and get it for all your pro fights going forward because I'm back now, kind of proper doing it full time. Yeah, so no, definitely. I love having the chats and I love having you on because, like I said, you were one of the first people that ever said yes. So
Of
I'll always
course,
appreciate
Dave.
that.
Always, always, always.
Have a good evening. Thank you again, and I will talk to you soon, pal.
You too, brother. Cheers.